What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of The Locker Room. I'm here with Eric Grothe Jr., one of the biggest names in rugby league, one of the most recognised names. How you going, bro?
I'm good, mate. Thanks for having me. What a setup you got here. It's unbelievable.
Thanks, man. Thanks for coming down. I really appreciate it. I messaged Eric last week and he was just like, yeah, sweet. So that's credit to you, man. So I appreciate it.
Happy to be, mate.
What's been going on since you retired, man? Second retire.
Second retirement, mate. Not a lot went on when I tried to come back either, but my back didn't... Yeah, I was going good. I was fitter than actually I ever was when I was playing the first time.
Really? And
I thought, wow, geez, I'm in good steady for a good season. Played a trial match, felt great. Scored a try. You just feel on top of the world. Thought, it's all working, I'm not too old. It's going to happen. I felt fast.
Yep.
And then into the second comp game for the Reggies, Peter Sharp put me back because he wanted me to just get some footy under my belt.
As you need, yep.
And second comp game, I played against Manly out at Brookvale and had a real good collision. A bloke was coming around on a C-shaped thing and I kind of met him there. It was one of the first good tackles I've ever made, actually. And we hit that hard and I twisted him around and in the process of doing that, popped a couple of discs. So,
really?
And from then on, it was just struggling to get that right. So, and the age probably kicked in there, so...
It's kind of weird. Like, I came back as well. I was 27 when I came back, so obviously still pretty young. But, like, when you come back from retiring, I reckon mentally you're so much more focused because you realise how much you have to give to be an NRL player.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Well, I stepped away in 2011. I had 3 seasons off. So, the first season was pretty busy. I had a lot of music stuff going on. But then, life got in the way a little bit. The boys, got married and had kids and stuff. And it kind of... I was like, shit, now what the fuck am I going to do now? Like, they're not into it as much as I must find a new band. I didn't want to do that. I knew, my brothers, So I was like, fuck. I actually went through a bit of a rough time and I didn't know where I fit in. And, post-career depression, I never really knew much about that as a specific title.
Especially then.
And one of them things too, I'd felt that like a lot of the depression card had been played a lot that... I thought, I don't want to just be another one of them blokes saying, I'm depressed and sad, help me out when there's people dying in Baghdad, children and stuff.
I know exactly what you mean.
Got no reason to really whinge. Got a lot of love in my family and around me. But, yeah, mate, it just basically just did not feel like I fit in anywhere. And then I actually had a bit of I'd say it was a bit of a breakdown to Andrew Ryan one day. We were in the car travelling down to Ulladulla and I just said, mate, I don't know what's going on. I don't have any idea of what I'm going to do.
Yep.
And not long after then, I just thought, I'm just going to get really fit because I know when you're fit, you feel good at least, I started eating good, start thinking positive, changing the way. I went through a breakup as well, so I was had a bit of a man in the mirror moment. And I thought, you know what, fucking the only one to dig yourself out of this shit is you. So I just tore in, mate, started getting so fit. And one of my mates, Grant Truval, was actually the NRL photographer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Chucky. He's a champion, he lives around here at Cronulla, and he said, mate, why don't you make a comeback? And I said, mate, I might be too old. He goes, nah, bullshit. He goes, I've been training with you. You're fit enough. You're fast enough. You still got power in that. Let's go for it. I was like, stuff it. Let's do it. So I just started putting it out there. I'd do a podcast with Dad, as you know, and I started putting it out there on the... I was doing it with a mate back then, Adrian Rainey. We called The Offense. It's finished now, but I started just saying, I'm going to make a comeback. And just saying that, putting it out there in the universe, things started happening, phone calls and emails, and nothing really in concrete. I was doing the chasing, but...
Just feelers kind of thing.
Feelers, to see what people would say, and people were like, oh, mate, if you're fit enough, go for it. And even had a chat to Wayne Bennett. Wayne Bennett, I was speaking to him about going to Newcastle at the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he said, mate, look, I've had a look. There's actually not much room for you. You'd probably be playing reserve grade here. He goes, mate, if you can get into the Sharks, it's local there, you like that area, just have a crack in it, They got a good future, at the time it didn't turn out like that. But, yeah, mate, I said stuff it. So I ended up signing with the Sharkies and all systems go until the old back fell off.
And it's every single person I've met that has retired that hasn't had the luck, I'd say, to go into something out of footy has struggled. Like, there is not a single person that I know that has been an NRL player for longer than maybe 5-6 years. That you feel like you're floating. You just... Like there's no, what do you do? Like, what's the purpose of you even being here? That's what it felt like for me when I
it's nothing. There's nothing on earth that can compare to what job can you go to after being on a field in front of however many thousand people screaming at you, then all week in the media, like, if you're not, your team is at least, and you're just under the spotlight, to all of a sudden a dead stop. It's just such a culture shock, and you get used to it. Like, I played, I think it was all up now, 13 seasons it was. So
142 games.
there you go. And even, I could have played a lot more due to injury. I missed a lot, but just playing for that long, I think ingrains into your psyche and into your cells, man. You don't realise until you. So I was happy to get away from it initially.
Yes,
and then when I did, I was like, hang on, man, this isn't what I expected. You just think everything's going to fall into place. It just doesn't.
No.
If you don't have something set up, that's what I'm actually doing now. Is I do this laptop business that I wish I had done it 5 years. Into playing first grade, it would have made retirement so much smoother.
Oh, mate.
But
100%.
hindsight, as I say. But mate, I'm in a happy place now. It took a while, but I finally got there.
And did your music help at all? Like, obviously that last year, was that kind of your only saving grace of, like, you had your music, you had your band, and it was it because it did break up, or not break up, but everyone kind of got busy. Was that the kind of like, shit, I've got nothing now, like I've.
Yeah, well, we released an album and we started getting regular airplay, and I thought, this is awesome. It's going strength to strength. I remember one day sitting there and putting on the Olympics, and our song come on the Olympics.
Really?
I was just
awesome.
Getting tingles, all those good things happening, and I thought, this is going to go places. And then, we finished the tour for our first album, and it becomes time to record another album. But the music industry is so shit in Sydney, especially.
Yep.
And there's exceptions to that rule, but majority of the music industry in Sydney is a shit house. There's
for
not much
everyone,
money in there.
There's
So
thousands that don't.
Well, that's
everyone.
it. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And we had to come up with another 40, 50 grand to try and record another album to go better than the one we just did. It was
That's
like,
crazy.
mate, we can't just. That's just a massive risk,
Yeah.
Everyone started doing their own thing, and then it became like, shit, what am I doing? I was doing all these paid promotions for footy and functions and stuff, but they were few and far between. The footy show was every now and then.
And there's only so much you can't like build a career unless you get lucky.
It's not a contract, it's like freelance work, and if it's not coming in, it's not coming in. So that's when I started really, I went through a real rough patch for about probably 18 months. And then that's when it was like, come on, mate, get fit. At least if I'm fit, I'll be positive and think about doing something, and then footy come about again.
It's crazy how much your actual physical health can help your mental health, if you know what I mean. If you just take that first step.
100%.
It's crazy. Your body just starts releasing endorphins. You start feeling better, even though nothing's really changed in your life.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You just kind of go into the gym or something.
It's just something to do. There's a bit of a magic thing. I always believe in the universe. Whatever energy you're putting out there kind of come back. It sounds a bit airy-fairy, but it's so true, mate. If you're sitting in your room, hiding under your blanket, what's that going to attract? You know what I mean? So you start getting fit, getting out there a bit more, speaking to people, networking a bit more. Then, of course, you're instead for some good things to happen.
And take us all the way back to when you debuted, 1999.
Yep.
What was that like for you? Was there a lot of pressure due to your name being so big in the game and, Grothe? Everyone knew Grothe. Was there added pressure, or were you just a young kid that was making his first grade debut?
Mate, I didn't understand about all the pressure stuff until like halfway through my first year.
Really?
Yeah, because I didn't play footy from 15 to 18, right? And then I...
Oh, really?
Yeah, then I joined Parramatta under Brian Smith in the full-time squad. I didn't know what was going on because from when under 15s, it was just get the ball and run it. Next minute I was coming into all these...
So you went from no footy 15 to 18 into a first grade squad?
Into a first grade squad, right. And he realised...
And you debuted that year?
Well, just before Christmas, he put me back to Jersey Flegg because I could still play Flegg then, which was under 18s. And I didn't know about running lines and, all these set plays and defensive structures and stuff. As I said, I used to get the ball and kind of run.
And you're naturally biggest,
back when you're younger, you kind of, you mature a bit earlier or whatever, and you're stronger or faster than most of the people. Well, they all catch up eventually. But, so I didn't know what was going on. So I got put back to Jersey Flegg. But when I started playing Jersey Flegg, I played really well and then got to reserve grade, played really well. And then Smithy was like... Actually, I went to watch Carl Barron at Parramatta Leagues Club, and Luke Burt was there. And he goes... I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you, but just get ready for this weekend. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, hey, you're playing first grade. I said, you sure? He goes, yeah, 100%, mate, you're playing first grade. And I just went, like that feeling just went, I just went real distant into myself. I was like...
It's like you're looking out at yourself kind of thing.
I just remember doing nothing, and now I'm doing this. Like, it's just too quick. I don't think my head's ready.
You'll be on the field where you used to be watching guys running around.
That's it. I remember watching the first 1999's kickoff it was a big double header, the first one at ANZ Stadium. Watching that, thinking, shit, these are men. I'm a kid.
100%.
And then it turns out 2.5 months later, I'm playing, and I was that was running through my head. But mate, it wasn't as full on as I thought. Like getting on the field, the atmosphere was hairy and I was a bit nervous and that. But as soon as I had a touch, you know.
Yep.
Actually, my
Just
first
faster.
touch, I ran the ball back. They popped out of me. I had a bad grip on it, popped out. They kicked it through and scored. So I was just like, oh, welcome to first grade. But, yeah, mate, as we went on, it kind of, you get used to it, obviously. Yep. And, yeah, no, it was good. I had a good career. I could have played a lot more footy, but I had fun.
Hey, you had a very good career because 142 NRL games, 3 New South Wales Origin, 1 Australia, 1 City Origin. That's a pretty good career.
Good stats. Yeah, I didn't know. Actually, someone asked me the other day how many games I'd actually played, and because I played, I think 9 or 10 at the Roosters, and it threw me off a bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the Eels, playing for them, was it when you did actually debut? Was it surreal? Like, as in, my father has done this, I've done this, and you've kind of carried on that family tradition kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, it started, as I said, it took a little while to kick in, and then like all the media around it, because the dad was dad, and me having the same name, like I got a lot more media than a lot of the boys were, because not because I wanted it or anything, but the name, just kind of blew up a little bit.
So you didn't even realise how big the name was.
I didn't get it, and then I started noticing how the fuss of it all. And Brian Smith straight away must have seen it from a mile away and just put a big media ban on me. So
smart.
I was actually happy to talk to him. Like,
you enjoy it,
whatever. I was like, okay, I'll talk to him, and then. They sent you off the media train just to get ready for all the worst questions ever, and I just started slowly building into a monster, all this expectation thing, and because Dad and I were always pretty just like mates, played music together and hang out more so than talk footy tactics or anything. So I never had that from home, so it was all new to me. So when everyone started putting that pressure on me, I started thinking, this isn't good, this isn't right. Like, how come I don't get this from home? Why am I getting it here? And it seemed to be more of an issue for everyone else but me. And that's probably how I got the moniker that I didn't give a fuck, to be honest, because I just didn't. And everyone started thinking, oh, you don't care and that, you're not trying hard. I'm like, fucking, I don't need all this shit. Like, I didn't do this not long ago. I can not do it again if you want. And then, but actually, I lasted a lot longer than I actually thought I would. Actually,
really? Yeah. Because also in your first year, you were picked for New South Wales, but you got injured.
So 99. Not it's second year.
Second year. Yeah. So you played NRL for a year and got picked in this second year of NRL.
Yeah. So I was my second year of first grade. I think I'd played 12 games and I got picked for Origin. And the week before, I scored this really good try. It was I think it was against Penrith. Anyway, and in the process of jumping over the line, I jarred my knee, and it kind of just got a bit worse. And then I got picked for Origin. I thought, oh, how good's this? Went in, had the medical, and the doctors were looking at my knee. It was pretty swollen. They were like talking to each other about ruling me out. I said, no, it's always like this. I just kind of lied.
As you
said, I'll be right by the end of the week. Lots of physio and stuff like that. And mate, as the week went on, I didn't really rip into the physio, to be honest. And back then, 2000, a lot of people were still drinking every night out. So I was kind of in the party zone.
You would have been 20 then. 20,
I was 20.
So you're still so
just
young.
20, and I
So not playing footy at 18 to being picked for State of Origin at 20. That's insane, bro.
My head was falling off, and I didn't handle that well. Actually, that hit me later. All the pressure of it all, and I had a bit of a bad time after that because. My knee was that bad, and the last day I had a fitness test for a couple of days before the game, and I just literally couldn't keep up with the team. I couldn't get up and down quick, and like steadying myself, no balance and stuff. And Peter, what's his fucking name? Wayne Pearce.
Just one of those just random guys.
Just a random bloke. He's one of the best players ever played. Wayne Pearce was a coach. He come over and said, mate, he goes, you're not even 80%. He goes, I don't think you want to be going into your first Origin game like this.
Because that'll rattle you if you're
and he kind of just spoke to me like that, and he goes, so what do you think? And I said, oh, well, if that's what you think, I better not play then, I didn't really think much of it other than, okay, he didn't want me to play. I'm not going to force me way into it. I should have said, no, I'll be right, Because they ended up winning 100-0 or something. I would have just had to sit on the wing. Dave Peachey scored 84 tries on the wing. I could have just sat there and done that. But, so I ended up pulling out. The next day the heading was, Grothe scared and that.
Really?
And that's when I got the first taste of what the media are like. Because I was a bit of a media darling till then because they loved Dad.
And then they've just
gone, right, here we go, let's smash him. And I copped it and I didn't get it. I got the shits and I, would argue back in if a reporter asked me a shit question about it. I just didn't I didn't get it, man.
Didn't get the
because it was
game.
too new to me. You know, like you said, 18 doing nothing, 20 doing that. It was just too much of a whirlwind. But
That's crazy, bro.
yeah, no, it's looking back when you speak about it like this. I haven't really spoke about it like this. You realise how bloody mad it was.
Like, I mean, think of if you had a 20-year-old mate, 18-year-old mate now, and then you know him and he doesn't play footy.
Yeah.
And then you've seen him
and
2
he was
years
smoking
later,
cigarettes and drinking warm VB in the park, and then next minute he's playing for Origin. Yeah, that's what it was.
You know what I mean? Like, think about how that's crazy, bro. It's mental. How, like, if you look outside in, you don't realize as it's happening, you're not actually realizing what you're achieving. You're just kind of just doing it.
That's it. And like you said, when you do retire and you start to have a bit of hindsight, you think, shit, if I did it now, imagine what you do. And that's what the opportunity I had for the second time. Unfortunately, my back just didn't hold up. But yeah, I was my attitude was just completely different.
But you played pretty tough, so like, as in, you were a very hard runner of the ball. Your career was never going to be too long because you find most guys that run as hard as you did, their body is pretty battered.
I do wish I kind of played a little bit smarter. I got a little bit smarter towards the back end in terms of, you know, running in between the A defenders and kind of finding a bit of space opposed to...
You used to enjoy
I did
the contact.
initially, and then it becomes stupid, mate, because I would, you know, take it personal. All right, I've got to run over this guy, and you can't run over people who are like 4 foot in nuggets, man. It's just going to crack your back off, you know what I mean? So I ended up learning the hard way in the end. I got smashed a few times, man, just from being so tall and upright.
And just jamming you through the ribs.
People, you know, understanding what kind of game you're playing, and they do video on you, and they...
Get ready for it.
Yeah, that's it.
I remember Wayne Bennett actually pulled Carmichael aside and said, mate, you've got to stop running. Like, it's probably the only person in history to be told.
He was reckless, wasn't he?
Oh, mate, he was. And Darius started doing it in his good year in 2010 with the Dragons, and Wayne pulled Carmichael aside and said, mate, you're not going to be able to play in 2 years if you keep running like this.
Yeah.
And like, it's probably the only time in history guys have ever been told you're running too hard.
Yeah, mate, he was another level, mate. He was just had no self-preservation. No. It was all about just as hard as he could.
But on top of that, he was so skillful. It was such a weird kind of dynamic of he was so tough. Remember how he got jammed against New Zealand?
That's right, yeah.
Like, got fully flattened and he kept playing. Like,
that's right.
Bro, he's
a tough mother.
He was a very good player. Okay, so when you didn't play Origin, like, were you gutted, or was it just another one of those things where you just kind of like, whatever,
mate,
I might play later on?
I was so young. I just honestly, when I was 20, mate, and I'd just been on this whirlwind of a half party tour thing.
Yep.
And then my knee wasn't good enough, and it was said that I pulled out because I was scared. All this just all happened so quick, and mate, I ended up not playing for the rest of that year.
Oh, really? So it's fully busted.
It was busted. Actually, I might have played a couple of reserve grade games, and I was dog shit. It was the worst footy I've ever played. And then I had a falling out at Para. I was still young, and they, I wasn't doing the job for them, so they didn't want to keep paying me. Obviously, it's a business.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to the Roosters.
Did that hurt at all? Like, as in Para was in your blood, in your family?
It was hard. Yeah, it definitely was hard because you just thought, I was getting comfortable here now. And it's probably my biggest fault was I was getting too comfortable and thinking I could just not play and get paid. Like, it's ridiculous, Yep. So I ended up going to the Roosters, but I went and got another opinion on my knee, and Dr. Merv Cross, he said, mate, you're 3 months away from playing footy. He goes, how the hell were you playing? And I blame myself for that because I didn't get a lot of good treatment, and all I wanted to do was get home because the footy was in my head. All the 100%. Origin shit was still doing my head in, and I just wanted to get away from it all. So I wasn't the best, student, so to speak. But, mate, when he looked at my knee and he said, mate, 3 months, and then I missed that whole 2001 season, come back 2002 for the Roosters, and, mate, it just wasn't the same for the first couple of years. Went back to Para 2004, and from then on played the best footy I'd ever kind of played just because I'd matured and a bit more professional, I guess. And
you kind of realised how good you did have it and the opportunities you were receiving.
And I just didn't want to, people put a bit of faith in you, and you kind of got to repay that back, I guess.
That's very true. And also, we're privileged to have done what we've done, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Very privileged.
And you see your mates digging ditches and concrete. I've got a mate who concretes, mate, does 2 jobs a day, never whinges once, works his ass off.
Yep.
And I did a couple of days with him once, mate, and I'll never do it again.
Mate, and they work 60 hours like it's nothing.
And he was playing Reggie's for Para and Penrith too. So I'm just like, mate, you are just another level of tough.
Bro,
like, I don't have that. I don't have that in me.
No, neither do I. I definitely don't.
I'm a pussycat, mate. I don't want anything to do with that shit.
All right, I want to. I know that people watching this show, they would love to. I want to hear that play-by-play. You fight with Hodjo. It always, every single year, it comes up as the highlights. You and Hodjo punching on.
Yeah. I don't know why. It's the fucking worst fight I've ever seen. It's like two old ladies having a handbag fight.
But it was good from my perspective anyway. Two big, strong dudes just throwing them. I've got the thing there in front of you. Is it all good to go?
What's the number again?
You shall not pass!
So before I press play, I'll just tell you, when I went to the Roosters, Justin Hodges was living with Luke Ricketson, right?
Yep.
And Hodjo was young, Rico was a bit older, and Hodjo
was loose, when he was younger.
Well, yeah, he just come from Brisbane, and he was out of not feeling at home and that,
Yep.
so he wasn't really fitting in. And, I think Rico was 27, 28 at the time, Hodjo was 18, 19, just very different dynamic. And,
and he was like the big thing, the next big thing. He was a
well,
star,
yeah,
wasn't he?
and he was still in a bit of party mode too. Rico was probably, loved the beer and that, but kind of winding down at home and not having a halfway house and stuff. So I knew this was happening, so I said, Rico, you can come and live with me. So I just said, Hodjo, come grab your shit, come and live with me. So he come and live with me, and we were roomies. And
he punched on an Origin.
Yeah, well, he was like I would have been when I was 18. What was I, 23, 24? He was just young, man. That's all it was.
Yeah.
And he didn't really, kind of, I would say he wasn't disrespectful, but he's just a bit messy in that, you know what I mean?
He was just Hodjo. If anyone knows Hodjo, he's
Hodjo.
Hodjo. He's Hodjo.
And, mate, he's one of the best blokes you ever meet.
Yeah,
he's so fun to have a beer with.
Yep.
He's so cool. He doesn't give a shit about all the footy hype, man. That's what I love about him too.
Yep, definitely.
And he was like this, but he had more of an attitude when he was younger. He had more of a,
like we all
attitude.
do. We all have this
exactly.
attitude,
But he's probably said it out loud a bit more, you know what I mean? Mate, he used to smoke that many darts and that, mate. Mate, once he was getting a hire car from a sponsor car from Holden, and he used to just have the dart out the window and used to burn all the new car things out the edge. The bloke used to show me, and I'd go, fuck, that's what I go. Anyway, I used to watch him play, and I was playing Reggie's, I was playing shit, and I was probably just jealous of him. He was killing it.
Yep.
And I used to watch him every time some little tussle would happen. He'd get up and he'd hold his hand up, like he'd grab
ready to go. Yep.
Just like that, threatening him. I used to say, if you ever fucking do that, man, I'm going to smack you straight in the head. He'd just fuck off and all that. And then, sure enough,
it happened.
Mate, playing Origin, he stole the ball off me and I got cut, so I just give him a little push in the back. I'll play any. Yeah, he stole the ball. I looked up for a penalty, it didn't happen, and then he started, get off me, and I pushed him. And he got up and he did the old. He did the old. Mate, fucking don't start me.
Yeah.
I was like, I've told
let's
every
start.
single person I know if he ever does that to me. There's however many million people watching me right now.
You can't stand it.
I can't fucking not do it, so I just went, fuck it. I just hit him in the cheek. Mate, it wasn't a great shot. It was more of just to get the fuck away from him. I really wish I wound up and tried to knock him out. It would have looked heaps better on the highlights. But, mate, we just went for it. And like I said, two old women having a handbag fight, and everyone come in and broke it up. And
you know what I loved about it is both of you, even after the punch on, refused to back down. Like Hodjo and you both came. I'm pretty sure in the video you both come back together.
Yeah, I can't.
And you in the replay you'll be.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And I just two big strong men that aren't going to back down from each other.
It was weird. It happened that quick. But then I'm a dickhead because they got the penalty and I think they scored a few plays later. But we ended up winning that one by 1 point, thank God. Finchy kicked that crazy field goal.
Yep.
Thanks so much. But, mate, after the game, the best thing I loved about it, right, after the game, they interviewed Hodjo.
He was just like, whatever.
And I seen it, I think it was after the game, their after-match function, and it was turned up, and I was listening. I thought, what's he going to say here? And he goes, me and Guru were roommates. It's all right. It was just a little bit of a love scuffle. And I was like, what a champion.
What a legend,
he could have been real bitter about it.
That's good.
I'll never, you got so much more respect for when you handle it like that. And, mate, I've had heaps of beers with him since. He's a legend. I love him. One of the best players to ever play the game.
Oh, mate, he's so good. And the thing with the Hodjo that I love is, like, he's so confident in his ability and he always delivers.
Yeah, he does.
There's not a time when a big game comes up, Hodjo delivers.
That's mate. He just looks like there's no flies off his back, Yep. He's just, whatever's happening, and he'll just deliver, like you said.
And what exemplified his career for me personally was in Origin in his last game this year. He dropped the ball his first run and then had a cracker. And I was like, you know what? Anyone else would have been fully rattled.
Go to water,
And he just killed it after that.
Well, his first Origin was a disaster for him, wasn't it? And you're just thinking, shit, is he banned for life from Origin? But true Queensland spirit is, stick with what stick with loyalty and all that stuff. And he's been one of the best ever for Queensland.
Oh, he's so good. And just quickly while we're on it, one punch rule. What are your thoughts on it? Because we're just talking about fighting.
Mate, I can see why the rule's in, honestly. Because where was it going to get to? If they're not policing it, I guess it could just be a free-for-all. I must admit, being a Westie, I like watching a bit of a scuffle.
Bit of punch on.
It just makes it exciting, and to be honest, it draws a lot of people in. And that's why they used to use them in the highlights all the time, because it makes people watch it who probably weren't interested in the game. So I'd love it to be around, but I understand why it's such a big brand now. Kids watch it and they start copying, and you see these all in brawls at junior footy, and it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
So I can see why the rule's there.
Yeah. But the only thing that I have an issue with is I feel it is a tactical advantage to small grubby players. Like they can
That's
wind
true.
big fellas
very
up,
true, yep.
and there's no consequences. You
Should
know,
be allowed to slap. Just slap.
just this big slap
Yeah,
contest.
a little halfback or a hooker is just, thinking they can mix it with a big prop. You just get the slap. That'll be all right.
just you get one slap each, and you just keep going back
That's
and
the
forth.
big open hander, yeah.
Yeah, see, I don't know. Like, I agree with you. I can see why they do it, but I just feel like it puts a cap on the excitement.
It
like,
does, definitely does.
It puts a when I remember the Origin. It was like the last Origin before the one punch rule, and it was that game was like Ben Crane, Hodjo again.
There's a pattern here, isn't there?
And it was just insane, like the passion and the explosion of just feelings and emotion, and you know what I mean. And you can't get that anymore. You don't get it anymore.
And
You
people
really
used to
don't.
watch Origin because there was going to be a blue.
Exactly, there's going to be a blue.
I hope there's a blue tonight. And that was probably the biggest sentence said that day. He was like, I hope there's a blue tonight.
Yeah, 100%.
But I can see just because how big the brand is, and it reaches everywhere now. It's all over YouTube, and social media.
That's true.
I
That is very
suppose
true.
I
I
have to
didn't
really
think
about that kind of angle,
It's because it's not like the old days where you would just see it once on Channel 9 and that's it. Whereas now, if a fight's on, it's all
It's
over.
everywhere, mate.
Yeah,
You get millions of hits for a blue,
That's very good.
Guess
That's
who's
true.
watching it? Kids.
Yeah, little kids, yep. Your musical career, you said in an interview once, like maybe they misquoted you, but you said that footy was to help you pay for your music career. I don't know if you said that exactly.
I did. I was being a smartass at the time because what was it? I think it was. I didn't go to I missed it might have been City Country I got picked for, and I missed it. Or it might have been the Aussie team. It was one of them too. It might have been. It was one of them too.
Yep.
And then eventually, you do the interviews, and they asked me what. There was just so much fuss about it. I was like, mate, fuck's sake. Like, I said, mate, I'm just I'm a struggling muso to
pay the bill. Footy pays the bills or
play
something
footy.
like that.
I'm a struggling muso who plays footy to pay the bills.
So
and
footy is always your number one passion, would you say?
Well, mate, to be honest,
whatever?
I always loved music first. That's the first thing I remember is music. But footy become passion. Like, it was my livelihood, really. It was paying the bills, and and it's like if you're not.
It forces its way into your life, I reckon.
It does. It did, yeah. And it become like. I remember, mate, 2005, 2006 was my best years, I reckon, and 2009 as well. And they're the years I played rep footy, right? And I was never having more fun in my life. And I would never be able to compare it to anything. I got to go on the Kangaroo Tour under Wayne and play Origin in 06. And I would never swap that for anything. And I'm so glad I put my head down, ass up for a while and did it. And, maybe I could have done it more. And
I was going to say, do you feel music ever took away from your footy career?
A little bit, yeah, because... Well, I needed it though, because if I was just all footy, I would have been
heads
crazy.
off.
Yeah, I loved that I had that other thing. I'd go have a day off from training, and the
Just
boys
jam with
would
your mates
say,
or something.
"Well, what did you do yesterday?" I'd say, I wrote a song or jam with the band or whatever. I'd say, "What did you do?" They go, I played Xbox." I'd be like, "Oh, geez, I'm glad I got this." You know what I mean?
Fair enough. It's like a passion, a
Yeah,
hobby.
a bit of a passion thing, and something to keep your mind away from it. But you're right, it's a bit conflicting ideologies and conflicting ways of life.
Well, it just seems like you had an opportunity. Like, you're obviously talented in music. Like, there would have been a deciding moment of you could have taken the musical route or footy route. You know what I mean? Because obviously you have the talent. You went on tour. You were being played on the Olympics and stuff like that. Do you feel like there was a fork in the road where you could have maybe went the music route and gone all right? Or
it's hard to say because we weren't like super successful with music, so I don't really know if that would have made us millions or whatever. But definitely, I had a lot of mates who were in the music industry who obviously just did the music, and I could see how good they were getting at not only at their instruments but at songwriting and being creative. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I wasn't really getting to plug into that because I had so much footy that after footy I couldn't be bothered a lot of the time.
Mentally, you're so tired. You can't be thinking.
They're writing songs every day, all day, and getting better and better at their craft. And I kind of felt like I fell behind a little bit. But mate, I had a good opportunity. Like I said,
can't complain.
A lot of airplay, a lot of airplay and stuff like that. I'll never forget driving home from practice one night and had Triple M on and our song come on the radio, and I didn't know, and it was like
that's awesome, man.
The only way I can describe it in terms of footy is, I guess, scoring a winning try for a game, like in front of a big home crowd. Like it felt like that, So very similar feelings. So I used to get similar nerves before a game and before I go out and sing in front of people. Really? And I was like, shit, I'm going out to sing in front of them. I'm not going to get hit by anyone. So it made me realise it wasn't the contact in footy that I got nervous. It was just the performance thing.
Yeah. Wanting to perform at the best of your ability kind of thing. Yeah. When you did retire the first time, was the injury was a deciding factor? But was that purely injury, or was it mentally you were just done? Or
mate, it was a bit of both. To be real honest, I don't think I've really talked about it before, but we had a first death in the family, so we've been very lucky. Like our grandparents grew very old,
had good lives and
had
stuff
good
like
lives with them, and got to know them really well. And actually, the guy, it was my dad's dad. We thought he was like the healthiest out of all of them. We were kind of preparing for other people to kind of maybe go first, and he had a heart attack. And anyway, we went to the funeral up in Queensland, and at the time I had a dodgy knee, and Steve Kearney was the coach. We were training so hard, and if you were injured, it was even harder.
Yep.
And I had that big emotional year in 2009, and then 2010 kind of was a shitty year, and then 11 came and it was all new again. And I remember at the start of the year, Stephen Kearney saying, mate, I don't want anyone here if they don't want it. And I just honestly felt like I was bullshitting everyone because I didn't really want it.
Yep.
So after that funeral, and I was sitting around looking at my family thinking, I'm bullshitting everyone. So I went back, trained for a week, and then I ended up having this party and woke up next morning. I thought, I had a few beers, I might wait, because I had this real weird feeling. And I got to like lunchtime, I was like, no, I don't want to play anymore. And
really? So it was kind of like, wasn't like
that.
Really?
Yeah. I rang Dad. I said, I knew I didn't want it when I was up at the funeral and the wake and all that in Queensland. I knew what was coming again. I had to go back to train. I didn't want to do it.
Yep.
But I went back for that week, and then after that party that next morning, I was like, nah, and you just know.
Yeah,
I
just kind of clicks in.
And I rang Dad, and then I rang Royce Bagnall at the time, was the chairman, and rang Steve Kearney, and mate, it was all done in half an hour. My career was ended. And then
that's crazy.
I just hid from everyone. I just didn't have to do.
That day
one guy knew where I lived, Pat Mullihan, whatever his name is. He found me house and he waited out the front for like a day. It was that hot. I ended up feeling sorry for him. I went out just to give him the interview. He was filthy with me.
Yeah.
I said, mate, I don't owe you anything.
Yeah.
I said, I just don't want anything to do with it now, right? And he gave me this interview, and that was it. I didn't have to do any big sayonara. And one of the things I hated too was the big press conference to say you're retired.
Yeah,
it was like a wanker.
It's weird. Yeah, it's really weird.
Stop, everyone stop. I want to announce my retirement.
Guys, I'm no longer here.
Go get fucked. I don't know that shit.
And you would have played in the time of Jared Hayne. How good was it seeing him?
Oh, mate.
Because I remember when he debuted, just a little skinny 88 kilos or 90 kilos. Yeah, he scored 2 on his debut.
Yeah, 2 tries.
Had those bike pants, those blue bike pants
down just past his knees.
And what's it like seeing a guy that you used to play with, and like he's, I mean, the biggest athlete in Australia? It's ridiculous.
Oh, it's incredible. Mate, I'm just jumping right on the bloody bandwagon, mate. He
makes me so like proud, even though I don't even know.
I know
it just makes me like, fuck,
you're just like really rooting for him, mate.
Yeah,
like, watching him, just wanting him to go good.
Yep.
Even if. I was speaking to Billy Slater. Him and Billy Slater had so many run-ins on the field.
Yeah.
After the grand final footy show the other night, and Slater was saying, mate, he just watches him and he's that pumped for him.
Oh, mate, any little thing he does, I just please kill it.
That's
like,
it,
it's just
I
weird.
really love him to show him how good like rugby league athletes are.
Yeah.
And I was saying it to, might have been on my podcast, I was saying to Dad, I reckon he's finding it easier than what people were, because you think about it, right? He's usually getting the ball, and he's presented usually with a line.
Yep.
He's got these blokes flying out like missiles. He's got one of the
perfect.
best pair of feet in the world.
Yep.
He's just going, right, sweet, stepping to the side, missing that missile, miss that missile, makes yards. He's got people blocking for him.
Yep.
And on top of that, he's having one run. He gets to have
So
probably 10
explosive.
minutes break after it.
Yep.
And he doesn't have to worry about organising anyone around him.
Yep. You're 100% right.
Mate, he's having 5-second bursts every 10 minutes. It's the perfect game for him.
You're
and
right.
I reckon NFL scouts are going to start just watching a little bit closer.
Oh, they should
have to look at imagine Tuivasa-Sheck. They're allowed to have shit over there that we're not allowed to have, like the supplements and all that, and
imagine
not necessarily steroids. But imagine they were taking what they're taking,
bro. Imagine Greg Inglis going over there. It would be ridiculous. It'd be stupid. And I think, and you're right with it seems kind of easier because
less to think about, man.
Think of Haynes' debut game in the NRL and Haynes' debut game with the 49ers. Although Haynes scored 2 tries, I'm pretty sure they would just like dive over the try line. He didn't make 3 line breaks like he did in his first game. You know what I mean?
That's
like
right.
The equivalent game.
Exactly.
He played better in the 49ers debut than he did in his debut, even though he killed it in his debut.
Yeah. No, mate. it's really good to watch. And yeah, like I said, I really think that his stress levels have just gone way. When he was in a struggling team, Parramatta,
Yep.
he had to do so
World
much.
on his
Everyone was
shoulders,
known.
yep.
He was known as the superstar,
Yep.
probably of the NRL, let alone the team.
Yep.
And all that added pressure of being in a position where you have to organise your troops.
Yep.
Now he's just, mate, I'm running the ball. You know,
Yep.
obviously the playbooks would be thick and you'd have to work
Yeah,
out
learn it all,
structures,
yeah.
but mate, I reckon he's
it
over
comes
there just
naturally to
going,
him.
oh, this is sweet.
And you know what else I love? I love how he's handled it. Like,
Yeah.
he's just been a true, like so classy and just a true gentleman about it all. You know what I mean? He hasn't been like in the media talking about this or that or
Yep.
anything. He's just played footy and like NFL, and just he's let that talk. He's done
that's
no other
it.
talking really.
Doesn't really have to, He's just
Oh man,
give him the ball. Like honestly, they're not going too well actually.
Nah.
I think they won the first one, lost the next three, but you can't afford to lose that many. And there's only 15 games or something. But mate, no, he's going to go from strength to strength, and his price tag now far.
Oh,
you can't even
mate.
imagine what his endorsements will be.
I've got a feeling that I don't know like the ins and outs of anything, but I've got a feeling that Telstra are going to do a documentary on him, and Telstra have some kind of connection. I don't know why. I just got a feeling that someone helped him get over there, and they are going to do a documentary of his rise.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they
through-
are because him and I and also Bo all have the same manager in Wayne Beavers.
Yep.
And I know from the start he's had cameras following him everywhere from
That'll be
even before.
amazing.
You know how good it's going to be because
It'll be
it's
amazing.
before he even got drafted.
Really?
So just since the moment he's opened his mouth and had
That's
this
it.
dream, he's had these cameras following him.
Be
And
amazing.
he's made it. Like, mate, even if he hadn't have made the
It
NFL
still would have been
team,
amazing.
if he come back to Australia, he's successful. I mean, no one's done what he's done.
No.
Not in that position, not in those running positions.
No way. And just like to do it in such a short time.
Yeah, he declared it and he did it.
Oh,
Mate, what a champion! No matter what, he's succeeded already.
Oh, he's
love him.
he's
I wanna
like JT. He's just too good.
Oh.
It's too good. Like, how did he get those those
know.
genes to be so good?
I know, man.
Where were we before that? Second retirement, was it much easier?
Yeah, well, it kind of just happened gradually because I got injured and I was just in the injured squad. And I ended up going up to Steve Noyce and saying, mate, my back's not getting better.
Yep.
You're paying me, like, I'd rather do something
For the club
instead of just doing this shit training. Like, why don't you just get me to do some promos and shit?
Yep.
I'll do all the shit promos or whatever. So I started doing that, and it made me feel a bit better inside, you know.
Yeah, like you're giving something back.
Getting
for
paid
it.
at
Yep.
least doing that, maybe, you know. But mate, and the club was struggling. You know, they were still going through all that Asada bull crap,
bro.
and then they were coming last. They got the wooden spoon, and it was just a nightmare. So I kind of slipped out the back without being noticed.
Being there, like obviously you probably can't go into details, but being there a part of it, do you feel that Sharks players got shortchanged, or do you feel like they got off pretty well, like they got out of it pretty well?
No, I do reckon they got shortchanged. I think that for a big company like Asada to say what they said, declare what they declared, and then to drag it on as long as they did and not have any solid concrete evidence, it just looks really shit on their company.
Well, the damage they did to the club was irreversible.
Yeah,
essentially.
to the game too. It just made it look like a joke. Like
Yeah.
it was taking the piss.
Do you
And
think
then
there was a power play by Asada? Do you think they just did it for a bit of?
Well, the rumours. Then you hear the rumours, all the political, all the conspiracy theories start coming out about Labor
promise and shit.
Labor at the
That's
time.
crazy.
Yeah, I know. Well, they control the
Maybe.
media.
Yep.
They
Yep.
put something like that out there, take all the focus
What
off
were they
them.
trying to hide
They end
again?
up losing anyway.
Yeah.
Just that they were shit and they wanted to get
re-elected. Yep.
re-elected. But it didn't work. But
What was it like the time at the club when that was
mate,
all
I felt
going on?
sorry for him because it was sweet for me. Like
Yeah.
I was walking in, not one of the cameras wanted to talk to me.
Yeah.
A couple of times they tried to get something out of me. I just played dumb. I said, mate, I have no idea.
idea
But,
what you-
mate, the boys were having you could just see it in their face. It was just, they were just over it, mate.
The world on their
They
shoulders.
didn't know who to trust. They didn't know what to say to who, and they were, it's a shit fight. There's that many factions to it. Like, mate, if you sat there and talked to all the boys affected by it, mate, you'd find some pretty hectic shit out of all the political stuff that went
Yep.
on. So I never even really asked questions because I knew they were sick of talking about it. So if they brought it up, I'd sit and have a listen and talk to them about it. But, mate, it was all just, let's just not think about it. And there was just shit everywhere every day. It was crazy.
And I'll say this openly and freely. When I was playing first grade, if the doctor said, here's a painkiller or here's a needle for whatever, I'm just going to take it. Like, I mean, I never was like, oh, what's in that? Is that this kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I think when I think of myself in that scenario, I probably would have too. If they were saying, oh, we're all taking it and it's all sweet and it's all legal.
bro, of course,
Fucking oath.
there's
Bring it
never
on.
going to be anyone, like, I remember, like, when I got injections for my shoulder because pain injections.
Yeah.
I didn't ask what was in the needle. I didn't check. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
You don't.
That's it. Yeah.
You trust the doctor.
Yeah,
you
you're not
trust the
going
coach.
to separate all those ingredients into beakers and test them all individually, and then if they're all right, then put it in me.
on.
Like, you just shut up and do as you're told.
Yeah, definitely.
When was your last year, Denon?
So I retired. I left in. I went down to the Dragons, 2012.
Yeah.
Then what did I do? I said, yeah, that's it. After 2012 with the Dragons, I was like, that's it. You know, I'm just over footy. I'm over the shit fight. I need to start focusing on life after footy. And then 2013, I think it was, I'd been on a massive booze vendor.
Yeah.
And I had a message from the Broncos. And I was like, what the? Like a missed call.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like wigging out because I was like, hungover. And I was like, what's going on? And it'd been like probably 6 months or something since I'd just called it quits. And then, and I called them back and they're like, hey, do you want to come back and play footy?
Wow.
And I was like,
shit, can't
all right,
really
I'm pouring beers.
opportunity
I'm
like
pouring
that.
a beers at a fucking bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doing nothing. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but in my like what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I went back and then got named to play first grade, and they're like day before the game, they called me in. They're like, "Oh no, Jack Reed's sweet. You're not playing." And I was like, you know how usually you're 18th man before, and you just hang around until they.
Yeah.
This wasn't like that. I was named
You were
at that
actually named,
position,
yeah, right.
and there was no talk of him playing that week. He was supposed to be out for 3 weeks.
Yep.
And they just said, "No, sorry, he's back early." And I was just like, you know what, this is just not for me anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't want to do the shit fight anymore.
So you left then right there.
No, I just like I played a few more games in reserve grade, and I was
Yeah.
just like, and I just kind of faded out, and just left at the end of the year. I was just the money wasn't worth it financially. It wasn't
What
worth
was
it.
your debut year?
2007.
And you played how many years at the Bronx?
Oh, I was there 2007 till end of 2008.
You had some cracker years, didn't you?
I my my debut year and my second year was really good. Went to Warriors, didn't go so well. I was just didn't fit in there, and then I came back. Then I came back to the Broncos, played really well, broke my ribs, my lung collapsed. Then
it's a friggin' roller coaster.
Oh
isn't it?
mate, then there was things that were agreed to with the club. They agreed to give me a few things that they never gave me, so I had to leave.
Oh mate, it always gets in the way of the politics stuff. But it's a roller coaster, isn't it? Like you're on top of the world one week, and then it's the only job in the world, like a professional sportsman professional athlete, is that the whole world tells you how you worked that week. You know what I mean? You don't just go to work, come home, and if you're stuffed up at work, maybe your boss yells at you. Yep. Not only does your boss yell at you, and your teammates can get filthy with you. You got all these people who've never met you saying you're a piece of shit.
Yeah,
right.
You
got to have thick skin, and you do get thick skin from it. Like, honestly, I can handle anything, any abuse, and I like it. It teaches you to be real.
Sometimes
like,
it's
down to
funny.
earth, you know?
I think it's funny. I laugh at a lot of it.
The more brutal, the better. Sometimes.
I was going to say I lost my train of thought. So footy show, you do a lot, like here and there. You do the footy show. You were doing a bit more last year, weren't you?
So because I was obviously playing a little, or supposed to be playing. Started doing those player probe things, and it progressed into a little bit more work. And Bo actually gave me a good leg up, and I think Dan Hunt couldn't do something one day. It was the Mark Wahlberg interview, and Dan Hunt couldn't do it because Saints put a ban on him doing media or something for some amount of time, and Bo Reamy goes, "Mate, do you want to do it?" I said, "Yeah, buddy, thanks, mate." So I said, "Thanks a lot for the leg up and that," and that went really well. So we got some more work out of that, and then this year not so much. And I did the grand final show, and I've got to go and speak to the producers and that about next year. I'm not 100% sure I'll be used regularly.
Do you enjoy it? Is media where you want to be? You've got your podcast, Undergrowth?
Yeah, Undergrowth, mate. I love it. I love doing the media. It's not a hard job. It's actually fun. I'm a pretty creative person, so I like seeing something get made from nothing and then seeing
it's awesome, mate.
In the edit. I like going to the edit suite and sitting there watching how they put it all together and adding the music.
It's crazy what they can do. Like, mate, something looks so different to what it actually is.
Mate, you film it could be the worst piece of shit you've ever seen. Get it in the edit room, and unbelievable.
And what's something that fans that watch footy show, what would be something that they wouldn't expect happens at the footy show? Like what behind the scenes, what would you say if you were a fan looking in, you would never really believe that this could happen or that could happen? Maybe, are they making new lines up, new scripts up the day before or the night before?
I reckon how much work goes into it.
Really?
Yeah, I reckon all the TV shows really, but especially a variety show like that where they've got so many segments, that's so much work. Not only going out and filming it, but getting back into the edit suite the same day and sitting there till all hours and putting it all together, making it all polished and having it ready for a whole hour. That's a long show.
Oh, 100%.
Like that much,
and it's live
that much
as well.
content, to
Yep.
have ready every week, mate. You just see them pulling their hair out sometimes, like, and I wouldn't want to be like Glenn Pallister, mate. Does a very good job pulling all that stuff
It's
together.
one of the longest running shows. Like
22 years or something. Yeah.
there's not many shows last
No,
that
you
long.
can't say that about hardly any shows anymore.
Like not at all. And I mean the amount of, it's not like it's a cheap show to make either. You know, it's not just one guy
they spend
talking.
big bucks, man, to get the quality and
So-
stuff. But there's a bit more competition now with the Fox stuff and obviously the internet and podcasts and
Yep.
things like that. But they're still up there. They got the big audience on Channel 9.
And on the Undergrowth, I was told that you were telling us it was a crazy story or whatever. One of my mates told me something happened with your father at the Eels Leagues Club or something like that recently. What I heard it was like an awesome story. So I personally just want to.
No, that's so they had a reunion.
Yeah.
And there was rumours that because Dad was on the board a while back. And Dad's just a pretty casual, kind of cool, laid-back fella. And the reason why he was on the board is because he's so good with a lot of the fans and the supporters.
Yep.
Gives him a lot of time. He's a bit of a crowd favourite. So it made sense to have him in there and, to be that connection with, supporter and board type thing. Anyway, he got stood down because he was delivering meat trays to some of their feeder clubs, which he was delivering them, like he was selling them for cheaper, and he actually saved them money. It was just, all it was is that the elections were coming up, so Dad was their biggest threat because he used to get all the votes.
Oh, okay.
So they had to make
so they were looking for a reason.
They got a technicality and made him out to be a bit of a criminal, and that wasn't the bad thing. It wasn't great, but that wasn't the bad thing. The bad thing was at this reunion, after they were finished reunion, they went to the next bar just across the hall. And Dad got a tap on the shoulder, and Dad, I've never seen anyone handle his piss like my dad, and so I know he wasn't sloppy. He's like you wouldn't know if he's had 50 beers or none.
Really old school.
He's just real cool about it, you can't tell. And he got a tap on the shoulder and said, "Oh mate, the function's over, you have to leave." And he said, "Oh, is that? Do you think am I too drunk or something?" And he said, "No, it's coming from the top." So Dad, just being a peaceful, loving mung being he said, "Oh, no worries." So he just left. A few of his mates followed him. It's a bit of a slap in the face for someone who stayed loyal. Dad got offered more money to go to all these other clubs during his career. He always said no, stayed at Para, always done the right thing by Para. And it's just Steve Sharp and his men, mate. What they've happened is, I don't want to get too political, but I've just seen when people fall in love with their power and get paranoid about staying in power and doing whatever they can to stay in there, because it's a bit of a cushy title. I'm on the board for Parramatta Eels. It's a big organisation.
Yep.
I just feel like that it's gone to their heads, in my opinion.
Yep.
And I reckon as a result of that, they're doing things like ruining friendships, to be honest.
Far out. So they told him to leave. Like what?
They asked him to leave,
like
and no
petty.
one else. And he's, like I said, he's not a sloppy drunk or anything. So, and Dad drinks lights, mid-strengths, whatever.
Oh, really?
So
Far out.
Anyway, that's getting political. But it's a shame because Dad loved the club, and I can see that really actually kind of hurt him a bit.
Well, I was going to say your name is synonymous with with the Eels, the Grothe name.
Yeah, it's kind of been a family club thing. I remember since I was 5-6 years old going to watch Dad play. Even earlier, but I can't remember. But I remember the '86 grand final and just all them guys being mates together, and just to see it divide like that, it's just really
sucks. Business,
man, money,
kills
power.
Yep.
And what's the Abraham Lincoln saying? You tested me in true character. Anyone can show character through adversity, or give him power, and you'll see the true him, or something like that. And it couldn't ring true more in this situation.